perfect. I'm going to apologize in advance if I go over 10 o'clock, but I'm going to try to tuck it all in to that time frame. So we're going to continue expanding on lead gen, right? So you should have 5 legs of lead gen. First one, your database. Second one, leads from listings. And then you're going to choose 3 additional options. So we're just spending some time diving into a couple of options through the 12 Days of Systems program. So today, again, we're going to talk about agent referrals and doing events to grow your database. So both lead gen activities. So let's see if we can get my computer to participate this morning. It says it's already overworked. All right, we're going to break them into the 2 sections. So we're going to start with agent referrals, and then we'll dive into client events. Our learning objectives for this section are we're going to cover connecting with other agents, being the local expert, getting in front of agents to build your referral database, how to manage referral groups, and how to add value to your referral and potential referral partners. So let's get going, because as I mentioned, we have a lot to cover. Oh, before I get started, as always, I do have the chat box up so I can watch what's going on in the chat box in case you have any questions. You can always unmute yourself and just interrupt me and be like, Amy, I've got a question. Or you can raise your hand and it'll notify me that you have a question. So either way works. There's no wrong answer there, but feel free to always ask questions or participate. All right, so as with every other opportunity that we've discussed over the past couple weeks, agent referrals is about relationships, right? But instead of friending or building relationships with potential buyers or sellers, now we're building relationships with other agents, preferably ones that aren't in your area. So one way to do that is friend and follow agents on your social media. And again, when I say that, what I mean is agents from other areas and other states, places that you may be able to refer clients to, or places potential clients are moving from. So if you can go and find, sometimes if you Google it, you can find like the moving patterns of people, where they're moving from and to. That's a good way to maybe start your efforts there of building relationships with agents. And you want agents to be able to see your social media feed so that they can get to know you. Okay. The first step to agent referrals is getting agents to like you on a personal level. It's all about relationships. So we want to stand out to them. So we're going to friend and follow other agents on social media. Like Facebook, you can have 5,000 friends. So start adding people. Okay. And again, track those patterns. Think about who, is going to be in your area. And it might be somebody, that's 2 hours away, or it could be somebody in another state. There's no wrong or right answer to that, but build those relationships. You may also want to create collaboration groups where you can come together as often as daily, like if the group's on social media, or maybe you're doing like a Zoom collaboration group, which could be a monthly or quarterly group. You may want to find agents you have things in common with, right? So, because those agents are going to have clients just like yours, and so have things in common with those people. So you might start like a collaboration group of new agents, right? Or it could be that maybe you're all top earners and you join together across the country to share ideas. Or maybe you all have law enforcement spouses or military kids, or you all ride horses, right? There's no wrong answer, but the same idea is what I'm saying with like, any lead gen, like build relationships, do business with people you like. You can do the same thing with your referral partners. And the more that you have in common with referral partners, the more likely they are going to be to refer you, because they're going to be like, oh, I remember Sarah, she enjoyed this, and we do that, we like that together. Or we have that one group that we meet like once a quarter and we talk about ideas and suggestions. So find some common ground and some commonality. I mean, there's hundreds and thousands upon thousands of agents everywhere. You're probably not going to friend them all. So start handpicking ones that you think you might have stuff in common with, or even like, get out there those referral groups that are already in existence and just be like, hey, who in this group has a child that's in the military, or a spouse that's in the military? I'd like to connect with you, right? So like start there. That's a good place to begin. On the same note, you may want to create your own referral group, right? It should not be geographically named. It shouldn't be like Northern California Referral Group, because then like you want to build agents from across the country. So be creative and have fun, but you might be like the LEO spouse referral group, right? Or something that's going to draw people in, right? People that love horses referral group, agent referral group, right? So be fun, create a referral group so that you guys can build relationship, come together and refer people to each other. On the subject of being creative and having fun, you may want to think about doing a fun group activity for agents that refer the most clients to you each year, right? You can promote it in your group. You can promote it in the other referral groups. Like, be the agent that people are rushing to send referrals to so that they can go on a trip with you to Nashville or New Orleans or Las Vegas or Cabo. Like, make it fun and stand out, right? If somebody refers 3, 4, 5 clients to you over the course of the year, like, that vacation's more than going to pay on itself, right? The return on investment is huge. And if you can create some sort of like gimmick like that, where people are going to remember you and want to tie into your referral group, that's where you're going to win. Finally, if you're attending other events or events with other agents, could be like your company's annual convention, could be like the National Association of Realtors convention, could be anything where agents get together. You should make it your goal, if referrals are part of your lead generation plan, to be making connections with those agents. You want to get their contact information, same as like with, you run into somebody at Home Depot who wants to sell their house or know somebody, you want to get that contact information because you want to be in charge of the contact. And you may want to find, again, we go back to the gimmick. When you're at the conferences, you may want to find a gimmick to make yourself memorable, right? Like a slogan, clothing, hat, card, something that makes you stand out. But the goal is to get their information, and that way you can contact them. You may have like a QR code on your shirt so that people can like scan your information or something fun, okay? Crazy outfits, I've seen them all, crazy hats, lots of different things to make people stand out. Any questions about building relationships? Social media, create collaboration groups, create your own referral group, and events. All right. Now that we've added a bunch of people to our social media, a bunch of these agents from other area, we want to make sure they know where we do business, right? So you want to make sure that you're talking about your area on social media and the area where you serve and where it is in the state, okay? Tie those things together. So you're going to tie in your local market to the state. That way, when people think California, they ask if you first service that area, because most people, they're going to be like, I don't know Montana or North Carolina, or, they don't know those states. So they don't know, well, how close are you to Raleigh, or how close are you to Bozeman? Like, nobody knows. And some states are small enough that you might service the whole state, right? So if you not only tie in your local area, but tie it into the state, then it's going to start ingraining in those agents' heads, like, think California, think Amy, think California, think Amy. And they're not even going to know where in California I service, but they're going to come to me first. Okay. So this means that you should be posting about your favorite restaurants, your favorite activities, local attractions, highlight why people might move to your area. Maybe you have a military base, right? And it's not just going to help you with your agent referrals, but that's going to help with your whole social media presence and just being the local expert amongst your community as well. So it's going to do kind of double service there. And remember, I said Facebook was my favorite back on social media day. That's just because that's what I know. And the demographic for who uses Facebook are people who buy and sell homes. But one other reason I like it is that you can categorize your friends into groups. So as you're adding these agents as friends and following them and stuff, you can actually create groups and tag them all as part of that group, which means that you can actually target your posts to those referral agent potentials so that you make sure they see your post. So it makes it kind of cool that way. If you have it set on public, you can share it with specific groups. So it makes it really cool that you can do that. So we want to make sure we create that correlation between you and your local market. All right. In addition to social media, you want to make sure that you're creating opportunity for yourself. Okay. Find opportunities to teach in other offices. You can do it via Zoom, or you can travel to those other areas. If you create a solid enough reputation for teaching, you could even like potentially ask the office to cover your travel expenses. Or maybe if you're going on vacation someplace, you know, schedule a visit to the local office one day and teach, pick up referral leads, and then you made your whole vacation a write-off, right? Win-win. Spend a half a day teaching a class. The goal here isn't necessarily to make money teaching classes. It's to get in front of other agents in other areas, right? You're marketing yourself as an expert in real estate, and make sure that you negotiate to get the attendee list. That's your goal. Okay, that way you can add all those agents into your interaction campaign and into your social media groups. Okay, so go teach classes. We are always, in case you're like, Amy, that's a great idea. We're always looking for agents to come share their knowledge in our office via Zoom. We usually do one high-level training once a month in our office, and we always are looking for agents in other offices. So if that's you, feel free to, you know, send me a message later, reply to my email, shoot it in the chat box over there. We'd love to get you on the calendar, right? So our office is out in Northern California. We service both, well, it's kind of in between the Bay Area and Sacramento, as well as the Santa Rosa area of Napa wine country. So we've got a lot of people moving out of our state. So if you want referrals, shoot me over a message. We'll get you on the calendar to teach something. All right. On social media, back to social media, you want to join all of the existing referral groups. There's like 3,000 different referral groups you can join to, and your goal is to become the agent matchmaker. Okay, if someone's looking for an agent in Omaha, Nebraska, you want to be the one telling them who they should use. Okay, number one, it's going to accomplish a couple of different things. It's going to make people want to know you because they're want you to be their cheerleader. Okay, as well as it's going to establish your name as a household staple in that group, so that when people are looking for agents in your area, you're the person. Your name is going to be recognized. Okay, you want to be recognizable. You're not even necessarily like, I mean, definitely look for the post that's like in your actual area so that you can comment on it, but it's going to take some time to kind of build that rapport and that the knowledge where people recognize your name in that group. Okay, so be the matchmaker. So as you're creating these referral groups and collecting agents and getting and building relationships with agents, now we're going to be their cheerleaders in those other groups to help your name be recognized. Okay. The next thing is systems and processes. You need to treat these agents that you're adding just like any other contact in your database. Okay, number one, you need to make sure they are in your database and tag them as a referral agent. Okay, and you may want to tag them separately, like potential referral agent versus somebody who's actually referring business to you, just so you can keep track, excuse me, of who's actually referred. And then so make sure they're in your database. Number two is they need to be on a campaign so that you can interact with them in a systematic way. You want to create a plan and run that plan. And remember that anything you send them needs to have value, right? So I get like text messages all the time being like, hey, do you have any referrals for Orlando, Florida? That doesn't really like draw me in. Okay, so do something. So maybe you need to highlight that you're sending the top referring agent on a vacation, or maybe that the top referring agent gets a prize at the end of the year, right? Maybe you need to state that how you're going to stand out for clients. Or maybe if you take a lower than average referral fee or offer a higher than average referral fee, right? So there could be things in there that help boost your business. So like if most agents in your area take a 25% referral split, or give a 25% referral split to a referring agent, maybe offer like 25.5 or 27%, right? Like do something that's not going to affect your bottom line that much, but that's going to make you stand out and make agents remember you and think about you. Okay. And then also think about what's going to be valuable in your inbox. If you are receiving something either via text or email, what would be valuable? So maybe it's, maybe you're going to start sharing tips that you learn in training. So maybe you're going to send out in your next like referral email, like 3 tips to upgrade your open house or 5 things to do to increase your referrals, right? Do something that's going to add value to them and their business. Make sure anytime that you send communication as well, that you remind them that you do business where you do business. And you might want to keep it broad. Even if you don't do business in the entire state, you might just be, I'm your go-to Florida referral agent, right? So whatever that is, you might want to be kind of broad. If you're like, I'm your Solano County referral agent, they're going to be like, I don't even know where that is. I don't know what state that's in. Even if you said Solano County, California, they may be like, I don't know where that is. So we may need to be broad, right? Where people kind of know landmarks and areas. So kind of keep that in mind as you're sending out that information as well. Your interaction plan with these agents should be the same 36 plus interactions that you're doing with your client database, right? They should be getting a couple emails a month. They should be getting a quarterly phone call. They should be getting invited to like join you at events, right? Like whatever that is, make sure that you're interacting with them at least 36 different times throughout the year in different ways to remind them that you are their go-to referral person for your area. Okay. If you go to events and you're collecting people's information at events, take the time to send them a thank you card in the mail, right? Same idea here with our clients. We want to find ways to personalize the interaction. So like take the time to write out, hey, thank you so much for connecting with me at this conference. I really appreciated talking with you. Maybe as you're connecting with them at the conference, you're collecting their cards and you're making notes on their cards of what you talked about, right? So maybe you talked about that they had a 3-legged dog, or maybe they just had a new grandchild born, right? Take that time to include that in the thank you note. Let them know that you remembered them and you remembered your conversation, because how you treat them is how they're going to assume you're going to treat their clients that they refer to you. Okay, so find ways to personally interact with them. If you're adding people on social media, like take time to send them over a DM, a direct message, and say, hey, thanks so much for adding me. Or, hey, I reached out to friend you because I'm building a referral network of like-minded agents, right? Take time to send them a message. They don't just look at your friend request or your follow request and be like, I don't know who this person is. So take time to personalize and interact with them. Any questions about agent referrals before we move on to events?
Is there a way to track like migration patterns so that you can kind of see like what agents in other areas you should be reaching out to?
Yeah, so if you Google, who's moving where, oftentimes I know there's like, I think Pods has one and some different things will show you kind of where people are moving from and to. I haven't found one single location that allows you to do that. So it's not super easy, but you can kind of Google it and kind of see some migration patterns of people. Yep. Perfect. As well as, keep in mind too, that you can advertise on your social media or in your information that goes to your clients in your database that, hey, if you're thinking about making a move out of the area, I can help connect you with a stellar agent where you're thinking about moving, right? So we want to make sure that we're promoting that as well so that we're picking up those referrals. Not only are we going to get the referral, but now they're going to sell their house, right? So we're going to get both. Or maybe they're thinking about picking up an investment property, maybe to your client database. You want to think about like look up the top communities for Airbnbs, right? Or top communities for short-term rentals, or top community for traveling nurse homes, right? So that you can reach out to your investors or your database and be like, hey, have you thought about investing in real estate? Did you know these communities are your top 5 Airbnb locations that create the biggest return on your investment? Let's talk about how to do that. Right? So provide value and opportunities for clients as well to create those referral opportunities. How cool would it be if you could base your whole business just on referring people to other agents and you don't actually have to go ever show a property? Right? You could do that on vacation. Sarah liked that idea. You could do that while you're on vacation, just connecting people and collecting checks. Super cool. All right. Let's move on to events. Have fun, grow your database. Everyone wins. For this portion, we're going to cover how to run client events. Talking about making sure you expand your guest list to generate new leads. We're also going to talk about other events, other things than just client events, things like seminars, housewarming parties, and charity events. And that's going to bring us to the end of today's lesson. So if you're like, Amy, I'm so tired of hearing about systems and processes. Every time you teach one of these classes, there's always a slide on the screen that says systems and processes. That's right, because that's what it's about. Here's the deal. If you start with systems and processes, it makes it easy to grow your business, scale your business, and still offer the same high level of service, right? So when we talk about events, it's no different. It doesn't matter whether it's agent referrals or open houses or social media. We're creating systems and processes so that it makes it really easy to walk in on Monday morning and know exactly what needs to be executed throughout the week in order to continue to offer high quality service and consistency in your lead gen efforts. Okay. You can make any client events, seminars, housewarming parties, charity events, your lead gen activity. So think big. When we talk about events, it should be a year-round activity. So if you're like, events are my lead gen, Amy, then it should be a year-round activity. Your ultimate goal with client events, if it's your lead gen, should be to host 8 events per year. So basically 1 every 6 weeks. Okay. The invite process is going to be a 4 to 6 week process for the invites through the event and follow-up. Okay. And then you may want to like scale it back and be like, hey, Amy, why don't I do 1 per quarter, or why don't I do 4 events in 2024? I'd be okay with that. And then like we start growing it, right? Create those systems and processes, create the plan, put those systems in place, run it, tweak it, execute it, make it perfect. And then next year in 2025, we do 8 events. Totally okay with that. Start small and work your way up. I would rather you start small and work your way up than start at 8 and feel overwhelmed and lost and just quit it all. Kimberly's doing 1 a month for her neighbors this year. So see, super simple. 1 event a month for the neighbors. Okay. The gold in the events isn't found in the event itself. It's found in the invite and the follow-up. Okay, that's going to lead to multiple interactions leading up to and following the event, even if they don't show up. Okay, when you plan client events, they should represent you and who you are, and they should be fun. So think about what you and your database would enjoy doing, what kind of events or activities would draw them in, and think about what you can do to create that wow factor. There are no wrong or right answers. Okay. Also, keep in mind that you can create relationships with vendors or strategic alliances. You can ask those key vendors to co-sponsor the event with you and help take on and share some of the costs associated with that. That also gives you somebody that can help with the planning, make sure anything isn't missing in the preparation, right? It kind of gives you that second set of eyes to help guide you through the process. Okay. As you're going through, especially your first couple events, make sure you're documenting all of the preparation steps, and make sure that you debrief after the event, even if it's just you, debrief with yourself of what worked well and what didn't, right? Pivot and make changes for the next one. And eventually you're going to have this well-oiled machine that you know the steps that it takes to get to the event, well, the prep. That way you're not dropping the ball and missing anything. You know what's going to take the day of, and you know what the follow-up is going to look like. Each event. Oh, go ahead.
So what does the follow-up look like?
What does the follow-up look like? Well, let's talk about that. So each event should create 10 to 15 interactions with each person that's invited. It's going to be a mix of phone calls, text messages, emails, and social media and deliverable mail, right? So about 6 weeks before the event, you probably want to send out a save the date email, right? Save the date. Then you want to send out the official invite in the mail. I would recommend the official invite somewhere around the 4-week mark. Okay, that goes out to them in the mail. And again, you can tweak any of these. If you find this doesn't work for your database, like change the touches. It doesn't matter. You're going to do an invite follow-up call. So maybe the week after that invite goes out, or should have landed in their inbox, their emails. No, mailbox. Excuse me. You want to call them and invite them. Hey, Nicolette, did you see the invite that I sent you in the mail last week for my event that I have coming up, or for our really fun, whatever it is coming up? Maybe we're doing an ice cream social party. Who knows?
That's what I did. How did you know?
Psychic. I'm psychic. I've been
That's
tracking.
crazy.
Right? So we want to follow up with the invite. Are you going to be able to make it? Right? And when they RSVP, if they've RSVP'd via, I would recommend using some sort of electronic program to track the RSVPs. Ask people to RSVP, something like Invite or whatever. That also gives you the ability to not only send the invite in the mail, but you can also follow up with an email with an invite to the event as well, with the link for the RSVP. And then you want to follow up with the RSVP, right? Oh my gosh, Sarah, thank you so much for RSVPing to the event. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Or it's, hey, Charmaine, I did not see if you were able to make it to the event or not. Wanted to make sure. I know we talked a couple weeks ago about you saw the invite, and I just wanted to follow up. Do you think you're going to be able to make it? Okay. If they like RSVP'd, and that could be a text message. Either one of those could be a text. It doesn't have to be another phone call. In fact, if your CRM has the ability to text message, it makes it really easy. You can go in there and select all the people that you invited to the event, the people that RSVP'd, those that didn't. You can bulk text them like, hey, thanks so much for RSVPing. I look forward to seeing you there. Or, hey, I didn't see that you had RSVP'd yet. Are you going to be able to make it? Here's the link again to RSVP. Super simple. Okay. Let's see, I covered that we're going to make it digital so that you can track the RSVPs. As it gets closer to the event, we want to send a reminder about the event. That could be via email. Just, hey, just a reminder, it's coming up in about a week, right? Whatever that is. You want to send as it gets a little closer, a second reminder about the event. This might be a phone call. We're just looking to have that touch again. And I would personally recommend trying to touch everybody who was invited to the event, whether they RSVP'd or not, if you have not yet made verbal connection with them that they're not going to be able to make it. Or it could be that second reminder, could be a reminder for all those that RSVP'd, and then those that weren't able to make it or haven't. We may even want to call those that weren't able and just say, hey, in case plans changed, Adriana, I just wanted to let you know that event, it's next week. You can come last minute if you want to. I know sometimes plans change, and we're just really sad that you can't make it, right? We're just building that relationship and that rapport with people. And then I would do a third or final reminder like the day before. I'd probably do like a text message, something like, can't wait to see you, or are you sure you're not going to be able to make it? Right? Just a little like bug in their ear reminder a couple days before.
Hey,
So,
Amy.
yeah.
So where do you normally have these type of events? Like, do you rent a place for this, or?
Yeah, it can be a whole slew of things depending on what your budget is. So it could be that you rent a location. You could like do a movie theater event. We'll dive in a little bit more kind of further in about even like hosting charity events. So you could do things like that. You could do where you rent out like the local ice rink so that people can actually like bring their kids. You could just do it at the park and just do an ice cream social where you're providing the ice cream. They're coming to the park. You could make them smaller scale where maybe you're only inviting like 50 people to each one, and maybe you're actually inviting them to your house and doing like a barbecue or something. Like there's no wrong or right answer to what kind of event. It could be a large, big event, or it could be a smaller scale event. You could just be like, hey, I've called a couple food trucks and they're going to come to the park over on, whatever, Stonegate Park. And I'd like to invite you to come join us. Right. So it could be something fun like that as well, where you just call in some reinforcements as far as food trucks or a like Hawaiian ice truck or, whatever that might be. So there's no wrong or right answer to what kind of events. You could just like rent a bounce house, or maybe even there's like bounce house place and you can have people bring their kids. You can invite them to happy hour. Right. Super fun, easy, simple. Okay. Pre-event, that gives you 7 interactions. You're like you're halfway or over halfway to your 10 or 15 interactions just with the pre-event touches. Okay. Then you're going to interact with them at the event. The goal is to talk with everyone. And it's not to talk with them about real estate. It's just to build relationship, have a conversation with them. Okay. Make sure that they know that you were there. And then after the event, you're going to do the follow-up. You're going to send them a thank you card, right? Or oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you couldn't make it. We had a blast, right? So you can send everybody that was invited another thing in the mail that's either thank you so much for coming, or I'm so sorry you couldn't make it. We really had a blast. I hope you can make the next one. Okay. Then you're going to call the follow-up as well. Right? Touch base. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to shoot you over an email with some of the pictures and videos from the event. Okay. Then you're going to follow up with that email and then you start all over. Okay. So super simple process. It's all in the invite and the follow-up. The event is really there to have fun and just have conversation. And then we're just going to follow up with them with those things. Now, another thing that you can do is make sure that you have a party favor to send them home with, right? Something of value, something fun. And the value could grow as your business grows, right? As you have more transaction, it might become better presents so that people have kind of FOMO or fear of missing out on whatever it is that you're going to give out at the end of the party. At the beginning, it might just be like, we went to the movies and I'm going to send you home with a bag of microwave popcorn so that you can have your own movie night at home. And then I'm going to attach a cute little sticker to it with some saying like, thank you so much for popping by our movie event. I appreciated seeing you, right? Like something fun that you can send them home with. So it could be like a $1 item, or it could be like a $10 per person item, or even a $50 per person item, right? So you can decide what you want to do, but send them home with something to remind them that you're in real estate. Okay, questions about the systems and processes? All right. We want to make sure that we're growing our database when we're doing this. So we don't just want to invite our current people in our database. We want to use this for lead generation. So we want to encourage our database to invite friends and family, invite their neighbors, bring someone new. Hey, the ticket price to get in at the theater, we get a reduced price. It's $5, but if you bring somebody with you, it's free. Right? So you could rent out a theater, help offset the cost for people that just bring themselves, do a reduced, cost for the ticket. But if they bring somebody, you cover the whole cost, right? How simple is that? Guess what? If I got told, hey, if you can come to the movie and watch this cool movie that we're going to watch, I've rented the whole theater. And if you bring somebody, it's free. I'm going to find somebody to bring. Right? So encourage them to invite friends and family. I talked with an agent previously that, again, I think I mentioned this like last week, but they were new to the area. They just moved. They were trying to make connections. So as they met people, they invited them to like a Friday night fun night at their house where they had like a bonfire and some games. And they encouraged them to bring other people. It gave them the opportunity to actually meet people and get plugged into that community. So it could be something as simple as that. Okay. Also, you're going to promote, get it on social media, emails, mail, hand-delivered invites to expand your reach. So get other people there outside of your circle of influence. That's ultimately the goal with events. It's to remind people that we're in real estate and to expand our reach. Okay, and you may be like, oh, I don't want to invite strangers on social media. That's fine. Like, call your top 10 people and be like, hey, you were at the last event. It was a lot of fun. Who do you know that I should invite to the next event? Give me 5 people. Okay. Or maybe you're going to invite, like, Kimberly invites her neighbors. So maybe she's going to go maybe she's invited 50 neighbors and next time she's going to invite 75 neighbors, right? She's going to continue to expand it and hand deliver invites. Okay. The next type, so those are client events. The next thing that we could do is instead of focusing on client events, you could look outside your circle of influence by hosting seminars, right? So they can be done in person or online. Could be like a first-time home buyer seminar. It could be investors seminar, preparing to sell your home class. There's no ends to the options that are available to you. So many things in there that you could teach classes on. And remember, you can always pair with vendors to help cover the costs. And even better, if you find strategic partners that are going to help present with you, right? So if you're doing like a first-time home buyer seminar, you may want to partner up with a lender for that one, so that the lender's helping to present their expertise when it comes to the loan and getting pre-qualified, the different types of loan programs that are out there for first-time home buyers. Or maybe you're going to partner up with like a home inspector for your presentation on sellers, right? Preparing your home for sale. So maybe you're going to partner with a home inspector so they can talk about the things that they look for in a home inspection and the importance of having a pre-inspection done before they sell their home, right? So they can fix those little things. If you're going to do seminars, your goal should be, so remember with client events, because it was kind of a bigger deal, if we're inviting our whole database, 8 events. For seminars, your goal should be 1 per month, right? And you should pick a date and commit to that date, such as like the first Monday of each month at 7 p.m. That way there's consistency in there. Again, you want to use an electronic system to capture the registration. So something like Eventbrite is a good one to utilize for that. And follow up with those registrations as soon as they register. That gives you an opportunity to help build relationship with them, and maybe even kind of aim for setting up a one-on-one consultation before the event. So if somebody registers for your first-time homebuyers webinar, we want to call them, thank them for registering, and tell them you're excited for you to join, or for them to join you, and ask them if they would like to sit down for a one-on-one conversation about the home buying process. Right? We can turn it into one-on-ones instead of a whole seminar. We still will host the seminar that night and have some goodies and have our lender partner there. But how cool would it be if we could go ahead and schedule that one-on-one with them and get them started with the home buying process before the seminar even takes place? So utilize it as a lead gen activity. You want to make sure that you promote the events everywhere, and maybe even target like owners or occupants that may be interested. So like maybe you would market to homes that have 90% equity for an investor seminar, right? Oftentimes our title companies can pull lists like that. They can look at kind of the loan to value ratio and pull that data. Or maybe you're pulling like the non-owner occupant homes for your first-time home buyer seminar, and you're going to go door knock some non-owner occupied homes to invite them to a homeowner seminar, because chances are the people that you knock on that door, it's going to be renters. Make sure you promote it on social media, and you could send mailers instead of door knocking. There's no wrong or right answer to that. Make sure you promote it on your social media, advertise in local businesses, right? If you've got any of those business-to-business connections, ask them if you can advertise or put a flyer up in their window. Most of the time, businesses are open to doing that. When it's time for the seminar, make sure to let everyone introduce themselves, and also ask them to state what their goals are for the class. That makes sure that you cover what their intention was for coming, that you cover that information. Okay. Also make sure to leave time for questions, and work to connect with each attendee in person, or not in person, but one-on-one. So make sure you greet everybody as they come in, that you talk with them, maybe at the end before everybody kind of closes out, whether you're in person or virtually, like, hey, Scott, just making sure that you, I know at the beginning you said your intention was to find out more about how to host events. Did you get all your questions answered? Do you feel like you got a couple of nuggets to take away with you, right? We're just going to have those conversations with them to try to make that connection with people so that we're building relationship. Okay, after the seminar is over, be the resource, right? Put them on your long-term interaction campaign to connect with them systematically and often, and provide value. And you may want to be strategic in your interactions with these people based on what kind of seminar they attended. For instance, right, if it was a seller seminar, you may want to follow up with a market analysis report. You may want to make friends with a stager, offer a free staging consultation. That home inspector that we talked with, maybe we got a discount on the pre-sale home inspection, so we can let them know about that. Or just connecting them with a home inspector. Maybe we want to go tips for, like, you know, as we're sending out emails to them, we want to do tips for preparing your home for sale. So we can make it specific to kind of the content that they were interested in. Okay, this comes back to those systems and processes. Make sure you kind of know, like, oh, if I'm hosting a buyer seminar, here's going to be my interactions with them for the first year. And again, it should be that 19 to connect until they're interacting with you after the seminar. We're going to treat seminars the same as we would open houses. It was great conversation while we're there, but we want them to start interacting with us after the seminar is over. So we're going to put them on that 19 plus to connect, where we're going to be interacting with them at least 19 times over that next year. Even better is if you stepped up your game with like an 8x8 campaign, where you're touching base with them 8 times over the next 8 weeks to try to get them to start interacting with you. Once they start interacting, then we're going to roll them over to that 36 to convert. Okay. Any questions about seminars? All right. Another type of event that you can do is you can do housewarming parties for your closings, right? So you let your buyer clients know during the purchase transaction that you would love to throw them a housewarming party. As long as they're open for it, plan to do it. Okay. I probably recommend doing it about a month after close of escrow or a month after move-in. That gives them time to kind of get unpacked and feel a little bit settled instead of like throwing it in their lap week 1. Okay, you can let them know that you're going to take care of all the invites, the food, the beverages, and all the fun. All they need to do is get you an invite list of who they want to show up. And again, I would use an electronic invite system like Eventbrite to make sure that you have all the names and numbers and email addresses for those that you invite. And make sure that they can register, because you're going to add everybody who registers for their housewarming party to your database, right? This is lead generation. Okay, when you add them to your database, you're going to tag them with like their last name of the buyer that you had, the last name of your client, and then housewarming. So it'd be like Petard housewarming, right? And again, we're going to put them on that 19 to connect campaign. And we might want to start them on the 8x8 campaign, where we interact with them 8 times over 8 weeks. And then we roll them over to a 19 to connect until they start interacting with us. Okay. Some tips for making your party easy and fun. Number 1, make it easy on yourself by coming up with the same menu for every housewarming party. Don't overcomplicate it, right? Go with the same theme, the same food, because that makes it easier just to repeat. Okay. Make sure that you purchase or create like a photo booth to use. That way you can bring your little photo booth with you everywhere so that people can take selfies as they come in the door. Okay. Personally mail and email invites on behalf of the client. You want to be in charge of those invites ultimately because you want your client to give you the names, numbers, emails, addresses of the people they want to invite. Okay. I would also talk with my clients and say, hey, how do you feel about me inviting like the couple neighbors on either side of the house and some neighbors across the street so that you can also meet the neighbors during your housewarming? Does that sound good? They'd be like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Or they may be like, no, we don't want to do that. So don't push them above their comfort level, but just like, you know, share the idea like, oh, normally what we do is we also invite the neighbors, because that gives you an opportunity then to also interact with those neighbors. During the event itself, you're going to mingle, take photos and videos to send to the clients, right? Your goal there is to have fun. So your conversations during the event, again, they don't need to be about real estate, but you may want to take notes of the people that you talk with and what you had conversations about. So again, you can follow up after the event. Okay, but your goal is to have fun. And then again, take pictures, take videos. That way you can kind of put together a little slideshow for your clients, or you can send them pictures with everyone and them that came to the housewarming party. So they have, you know, a picture of each person like on their doorstep, whatever it is, or at the photo booth. Let's see, we talked about inviting the closest neighbors so that they can meet. check with your clients to make sure they're okay with that. In addition to adding them to your database, put them on that 19 to connect plan. You're also going to want to send out a thank you email for attending, or a text message, and I would do it with a video or a photo slideshow from the party. And that goes out to everybody. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for attending the Petard's housewarming party. I really appreciate it. They had so much fun. Here's a video recap of the night. Right? Have some fun activities and events. Maybe buy some they have like those yard games, like the giant Jengas or yard tic-tac-toe or something to that effect that you can bring out, or some other games that you can bring to help people have fun. But the goal is just, food, beverages, interactions. In addition to that, like we talked about for client events, like you could interact with those people multiple times leading up to the event as well, right? We can send out the invite for the home warming party. We could follow up with the people for a phone call. Hey, just making sure that you saw the invite to the Pope's housewarming party on this date and time. Do you think you're going to be able to make it? We're just trying to get a head count, right? Follow up with the reminder of it's a week out from the housewarming party. We're looking forward to seeing you there, right? So we can follow up with those people in the same way so that we get all those interactions and start building relationship with their friends and family before we even officially meet them in person at the housewarming party. Questions about housewarming parties? Is anybody doing housewarming parties for their clients yet? Sarah does them? Nicolette, you do them?
It's been on my list, but no, I have not. I need to.
Sarah, do you do them?
Yes, I've done several and they turned out really great, but you gave some really great tips of some things that I really wasn't thinking about that I can go in and add, and especially on the touches. I think with all the information you gave, it was very valuable, Amy, because that S in that keyword, system and processes, right? We really, it's like, to be efficient, we really can't even get away from it. So some of the information you gave me some extra ideas for the ones that I did have. I thought they turned out very well because it's such a joyful time. Yeah. People are so excited. They're excited for their family, friends, and people to attend. But the information you gave, I think it gave me some more ideas on how to make them even better.
Good. Good. Perfect. All right. One other type of event that we can host, and the last one that we're going to touch on today, there's probably others out there, but the last one that we're going to touch on today is charity events, right? So you could have like themed nights, like something like a girls' night out or a diaper drive where you can invite friends, clients, new people to come to a restaurant. And, bring a package of diapers with them or bring a coat with them or whatever that is, right? Charity drives, it can be really small scale, or we can think bigger scale. And maybe it's, whatever your theme is, maybe it's like a diaper drive. You cover the cover charge if it's a bar, or they get 10% off their bill if they bring diapers with them, right? And you may even build relationship with that business of, hey, I'm going to invite 100 people to this event, and some of them have never heard of your restaurant. Would you be willing, this is for charity, would you be willing to give them 10% off their bill if they bring a coat for a needy kid or a toy for Toys for Tots, right? And a lot of times business owners are going to get in on that as well. So if you can partner with that business owner so that it's not costing you necessarily anything, they could pay for their own food even at the restaurant. It's just a fun time to come together. Maybe you're footing the bill for the restaurant, whatever it might be. You could do something small like that where we're just doing a drive, right? Bringing things in, theme night. You could also host big charity events, right? Something to bring greater awareness to a specific charity or group where you can go all out, have sponsors that can help cover the cost, right? Like a big gala of some sort to bring awareness to something. You can invite guest speakers. You could have it be like a black tie affair. You could charge for tickets or tables, right? Where that money goes then to the charity. You can have a full dinner. So you could make it really fun to raise some money and get community involvement and meet new people. Again, with all these events, you want people to RSVP, and you're collecting all of that information so that you've got all the attendees. Even if you're selling like tables for a charity event, you want to know who's going to be at the table. So maybe a couple days in advance, just be like, we're confirming the guest list. Who did you invite to be at your table? Right? That way you know the names, numbers, that you can confirm people as they walk in the door. And that way you can follow up with them. Okay. If we're doing events, like you don't have to necessarily do it at a ballroom, we could think smaller. So it might be a good opportunity to host at like a newer restaurant in town that's looking to grow their clientele. So they may be willing to offer you a deal to rent out the restaurant or the room in order to bring more awareness of their business. So partner with those newer businesses in town. And maybe even consider events where they can bring kids. Again, we could talk about like renting out an ice skating rink, gymnastics gym, the local pool, something that's going to bring fun and awareness to whatever the charity is that you're hosting, and something that involves the whole family, because people do like to bring in their families as well. So you can decide who you want to bring in and what kind of event you want to have. You want to make these charity events the must attend events and create that FOMO, that fear of missing out, right? So we're going to post photos and videos. We're going to send out that highlight or recap email to make people want to attend your next event. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun at the gala. We raised, $5,000 for the SPCA. It was a fabulous event. In fact, we even had them bring dogs over, and the dogs participated in the event as well, right? So we can make it fun. We can think outside the box. There's no rules when we start talking about events. If you're going to go a route where we're doing events where we're giving back to the community, you may even want to think about creating your own charity. So if there's something that is really on your heart that is close to home, you may want to create your own charity or nonprofit so that you can raise money for that as well. That way, the money is going where it's supposed to be going instead of trusting other people. So just some fun things to think about there with charity events. Charity events are fun, right? Because we can promote them to the masses. People like to help the community. They like to be given opportunities to do that. I mean, you just think about like crab feeds. I don't know how many crab feeds we have in our area, but they always sell out, right? They're always sold out because people like to do that. It's a fun activity and event. You can do silent auctions at the events as well. You could do like a regular auction. It doesn't even have to be silent. So there's so many opportunities to draw people in and get them plugged in. And again, the goal here is relationships. So we want to continue, make sure that you put, it's sponsored by, the event sponsored by Kimberly Moses of Realty One Group Fox, whatever that is, we want to make sure we advertise that, and whoever else is helping co-sponsor, make sure they get some airplay time. Maybe want to mention it as from the MC from the stage if you're doing a big event that has things like that. So just make sure to have fun, get plugged in, decide which route you want to go. Don't try to tackle them all. Pick one, like client events, seminars, something, pick one and run with it. Questions or thoughts before we wrap up for the day? Look, I did good. I still finished on time. It was a lot of information. Any questions, thoughts? As always, thank you so much for sticking with us through our training today. Tomorrow, we're covering open houses, taking your open from open to out of this world. We're also going to cover niche markets, VIP groups, and thinking about door knocking outside the farm. I'm going to talk about a little twist on that. Thursday, we're going to grow your business with leverage, as I mentioned at the beginning. And Friday, we're going to wrap up with creating an exit plan by building wealth. And you never know what other bonus content I might try to squeeze in on a couple of days. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow's busy. As always, you can rewatch these recordings on our YouTube channel once they're posted. The link is in the chat box for that YouTube channel. We also have a whole selection of other trainings that are up. Last year during this time, we did 12 days of lead gen. So those videos are still up from last year's series. If you want to dive further into some different lead gen methods. And then I always host trainings for our office. They'll get recorded and posted. So you're welcome to join us. There's also a link there if you want to be notified when the training for today's class is, or the recording for today's training is posted. So you can click on that as well. Thank you, Kimberly. Thanks everyone for joining me. I really appreciate it. We'll see you back at 9.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Nicolette, what'd you say?
Oh, I just said thank you.
You are so welcome. You're welcome, Sarah. All right, everybody have a fabulous day.